Welcome back to the NBHL Game of the Week. We're almost through June. The season's really heating up, as is the weather outside. And we've got a good one today for you from Massachusetts Tier 1. The Cleghorn Crooks against the Southcoast Union. Important game for both teams. Matthew, Aaron, thank you so much for being with us. Back for the first time in a couple of weeks, and we've got an interesting game for you. The Crooks have been on this show before against the Owls back in Week 5. They lost 3-2. The Crooks won the overall Tier 1 championship as the Leominster Stars back in 2023. It's one of the best teams throughout all of Tier 1. They're 3-2 this season. They're third right now in Massachusetts Tier 1, and they're trying to get going against a new team, the Southcoast Union. You have to view this team as kind of an all-star team from Tier 2 in New England and Massachusetts. That would be both northern and southern Massachusetts. And it's a team that is 0-3. They lost to the Crooks in the season opener. This is the first of 3 games they're playing today. We're going to see if they can get on track this afternoon in the heat of the end of June. Good one coming up for you in the Game of the Week. Crooks and Southcoast Union coming right up. Okay, Crooks and Union getting ready to get underway in what was a hot weekend across the Northeast, certainly a hot weekend in Massachusetts. Don't you kind of feel for the Southcoast Union playing the first of 3 games on this day? They are in the red. They're going from right to left. The Crooks have the white uniforms. They are going from left to right. Second meeting of the season, as we mentioned before. The Crooks beat the Union 6-1 in their first matchup. We're going to go over a little what we went over in the intro when we talk about how the Union is formed and the kinds of players they get on this team. Lots of players from Tier 2 that are making the move up to Tier 1. Big game for the Crooks, again, behind the Owls and Scorpions. The Owls have been on this show before. The Scorpions have not. I think we'll get to that at some point. Opening face-off about to get underway. And here we go with Chris Casto, number 96. Fenceman pushing the ball ahead. And off we run to see if this kind of game can deliver on the Game of the Week. And that shot immediately comes in, deflected wide. There's goalie Brandon Silva, who made a save with his shoulder. He makes another save on a long point shot that comes through. That play is good. Stayed in at the floating blue line. The Union trying to clear it up the wall. And they're able to scamper into this corner. Centering pass comes all the way across, off a stick and out of play. That's Andrew Carter in goal for the Crooks. Most valuable goalie in Mass Tier 1 in 2023. If you remember back to the first appearance of the Game of the Week for the Crooks, Week 5 of this show, we talked about how they've had a player win MVP in all 4 seasons of Massachusetts Tier 1. 3 of them are available today. Brandon Jones, Corey Wilson, and Korey Fredrickson. No doubt they're going to have a role to play this afternoon at some point. A couple of players unavailable for the Crooks, so they're a little short-handed in terms of available players, but the ones they have are still plenty good. Great passing play and then a swing and a miss on that shot. I think it was Chandler Ledger on a beautiful passing play, just swung and missed. Was all alone that far circle and couldn't do a whole lot with it. But a lot of Crooks pressure to start. Looking for a cross rink pass. It was intended there for not able to do a whole lot. That pass doesn't connect either. First real forays forward for the Union, trying to get some possession. It's a team as it's shot in there once again by Brandon Jones. Team that's trying to find its feet. And what I was trying to explain in the intro is that one of the rules for a team that's playing its first year in Tier 1, as this is for the Union, they are able to get players from Tier 2 to play in both tiers. So what you'll find is for the Union, all of these players are basically on this team as well as a Tier 2 team in the New England or Massachusetts region of some sort. So all of them really good at the Tier 2 level, now getting a chance to play at the Tier 3 level. Tier 1 now. Some of these players have moved up from Tier 3 and Tier 2, I should say. Couple minutes into the period, that shot was blocked away in front. This is gloved down by Hunter Lammy. And this team is 0-3 on the season in Tier 1. That sharp angle shot was Drake Manning Almeida trying to squeeze that through. In the 6-1 game earlier the year, as that shot is stopped from Casto again by Andrew Carter. Manning Almeida scored the only goal for the Union in their 6-1 loss to the Crooks way back early in the season. One of the Crooks' 3 wins, 3-2 on the year, 3rd in Massachusetts Tier 1. That's not where they're used to being, of course, as a former NBHL Tier 1 champion. Carter flags this down. He'll play it to the wall. And this is AJ Mills looking for an outlet. We'll go across the rink to Chandler Ledger, trying to break the ball out, having a little trouble doing so. So nice start here for the Union. This play, I think, is offside, so we get a whistle and a face-off. Union off to a decent start. I think in their opening 3 games of the season, the way their schedule works out, didn't score a ton of goals. I believe they gave up a total of 20 or something in that area. Eddie Costa, their coach, was not available that first segment of games, but he is available today. Right off the face-off, Carter will hold that. So we expect improvement from the Union as this game goes on, and certainly as the season goes on. I know that's the expectation around Tier 1. Corey Wilson trying to take that face-off. It's going to be pushed back by Corey Fredrickson. That's Wilson, the 21 MVP, the 24 MVP, and Fredrickson. Crooks are just an extremely talented team. There's a chance for Evan Barbosa. He tried to flip that in short side. Ball was loose for a second, but Carter ended up covering it up. We'll get another look from behind the net. There's the sharp angle shot, goes up high, bounced in front. Joey Frank, number 87, tried to just jam it in, but Carter, hugging the near post, hugged it pretty well. Long slap shot from the right point goes wide. Another chance for Barbosa, doesn't work out. More pressure here from Christian Maselli. And turnover here just inside the line. Opportunity for the Crooks to enter the zone clean, but they didn't take it, so they'll have to re-up and try again. The wing, Dan Connors, thrown back to the point. That long shot was blocked on the way in. Here's Barbosa. He'll shoot in, try to establish the zone. Maselli goes to get it. That's another shot, angle shot, stopped by Carter. Give credit to both of these teams again, playing intense hockey in very, very hot weather. This was, of course, not as hot as it eventually got this week for all of you, wherever you may be in the Northeast, where it's felt like the surface of Venus out there. Good save by Carter, another chance. That was flipped, I think, behind him. And it came through the yellow paint in the crease and went wide. So there was a good look for the Union. Arguably been the better team in the early going. Casto from the left point. Another look at a sharp angle shot perhaps for the Union. Casto will try again. That's easily blocked. Fredrickson was standing in the way. Crooks are going to break the other way. Cross ice and a great save, and 2 from Silva. Yeah, had to make a save for a while. This play's offside. What a look. A little 2-on-1 break. You're going to get Silva's view of it. Great pass. And he stretches across, got the left pad on it. That was a great setup. It was Wilson and Fredrickson again. And Fredrickson eventually denied by Brandon Silva. It's got 0-2 record. There's his chance. Carter, that was behind him for a second. He was off his angle, and another chance on the backhand gets cleared away. Well, how about what we're seeing right now from this team? Really impressive. The Union, as that ball gets frozen along the kick plate, far boards. Well, how about chances at both ends with about 4 minutes to go in the period? Carter off his angle. I don't know if that hit the post or not. That was Joey Frank. He got himself a good look. One thing to say about the Union today is they have a deeper roster of available players, so in the conditions that this was played in, you would have to think perhaps it's an advantage for them. This comes in front. Nice move by Maselli, but then Crooks' sticks get back in the way. And another odd man opportunity. That's stopped. Good save again by Silva. Every time it seems that the Crooks break into the offensive zone, it seems like they've got numbers. And now here come the Union. Partial breakaway, backhand shot off the angle. Carter makes the save again on Maselli, who seems like he's getting a chance every second wave or two. 3:35 to go in the opening period. Shot goes wide. Silva trying to get back on his angle to keep it out. Both goalies very sharp early on. Still loose as they jam away in front, and frozen by Silva. Not for a lack of chances in the early going of this game. This was cleared out in front, not really dealt with. That was Jake Waldron trying to settle it, and then there's Fredrickson and Wilson just trying to jam away and get something going, and it will do so. Back to the point. That was kept alive by Ledger, but here come once again the Union, but they're not able to get this into any sort of chance. Lobbed ahead. This is Wilson, who was looking for an angle near circle, didn't have anywhere to shoot. To the point. Comes in, easy save. There was a big rebound for a second, but Maselli able to swing it out of trouble. Wilson trying to move in transition. Speaking of, there was a chance. That was Lambert, whose shot was stopped. Wilson couldn't settle that, and back the other way. It's kind of felt like ball hockey ping pong in a way, just exchanging flurries with one another with really good opportunities at both ends of the rink. That was Fredrickson who ripped it away. Wilson trying to get a backhand pass in, but good defensive stick. One of these chances at some point is going to end up in the back of the net the way this is going. High slot look, another great diving block. We've seen some good blocks already in this game. I think that was Waldron who went down to the hot rink to stop that pass. And it's eventually covered up by Silva. Credit to any defender going to the rink to block a cross-rink pass at this point. You can only imagine how hot it is. And then you're going down on one knee to try to block a centering pass or two. I guess you call it rink burn. Can't call it rug burn. Anyway, less than 2 to go in the period. Both teams exchanging flurries. Well, who's going to break through? It's been a pretty good opening period for the Union, all things considered. This lead pass is intercepted. Jamming away at the side of the net. Nobody for the Crooks could seemingly find it. About a minute and a half to go in the opening period. Walter just trying to get rid of it in a one-on-one battle. Struggling to. Centering pass comes through. There's a chance, and another shot goes wide. Silva again closed off the angle. Pressure keeps mounting, though. Loose at the side of the net. Turnaround chance is blocked. Again, the Union try to clear, they don't. And a Wilson shot goes in. And the Crooks finally get one through. In fact, that was Lambert. Wilson helped set it up. And how about this shot? First gets blocked, comes up high, and then it's Lambert just fires one in from the point, and it makes its way through. It's Mills and Korey who end up getting the assists. It's 54 and 91. As you can see, a little struggle with the numbers, but in they come again, and that shot goes wide. Less than a minute to go in the period. Corey Wilson had been so active, 3 goals and 4 assists on the season. Almost felt like he was going to set something up. He was getting a lion's share of the chances early on, but it is Lambert. That's his first of the season. From Mills and Korey as is the Crooks who take the lead, and the Union trying to respond. Carter goes down, closes the pads, closes the 5-hole, and makes the save. Union have looked pretty good in this period. There's no question about that, but the Crooks have also looked pretty good. They've had plenty of good chances themselves. So what can the Union provide with what's little time is left? Ferreira's shot got blocked. This is Dowling going to the corner and to play their way out of trouble. First period's about to come to an end. One where the Crooks have the lead, but a pretty even period overall. Maybe there's one more chance. The Crooks with 4 seconds to go. Good hard check along the boards. Turnover by Manning Almeida, and the siren goes, and the first period comes to an end. 1-0 in favor of the Crooks. Back in a second with the first intermission report.
From the beginning of time, men and women have been friends, family, but yet rivals as well. Some of the most epic battles have been fought from the North to the South Pole and anywhere in between. As time flies, battles have transformed themselves into sports. Yet, the fundamentals remain the same, with lighter shields and a different type of sword. But evolution is clever. It introduces new rules but keeps one thing intact: adrenaline. So it's with honor and pride that we present to the world all of the above into one sport. Hockey ball, the game born in the North that can be played from the mountains to the ocean, and from America to Europe, all the way to the land of the rising sun. Napper. Anyone, anywhere.
It was a very fun first period at Leominster Deck Hockey. The Crooks leading the Union 1-0. Not for lack of chances, because both teams had a bunch, which we're going to show you right now. Matthew Aaron, thank you for being with us. NBHL Game of the Week for Massachusetts Tier 1. Both goalies have been extremely active. Andrew Carter's had to make a bunch of really good saves. Brandon Silva's had to make a bunch of really good saves. You're looking at some of them right now. And both teams have had odd man opportunities, breaks, even breakaways. Incredible work by both teams, but the goal comes for the Crooks. Kind of feels unfortunate for the Union, who might have had more of the pressure. It is going to be this long point shot from Josh Lambert, set up by Mills and Cordio. That's his first of the season, and it gives the Crooks a 1-0 lead. A heck of a first period, played in the heat at Leominster Deck Hockey. The heat's not affecting anyone yet, but we'll see where we go in the second period. If the action at the rink gets hotter than it is outside. Stay with us. We're about to get ready for the second period. It's 1-0 Crooks on top of the Southcoast Union. Really good first period. A lot of goal mouth action, a lot of saves, a lot of entertaining ball hockey. Let's see what the second period brings with the change, as it is the Union who are going to try to bring it in. I'll try to get set up in that floating blue line, which in this case is, of course, yellow on this rink, but another long shot. That's stopped by Carter. Still loose. Carter able to stick that away to the corner. Another hard battle down in there. But the Union again, starting the second period, much like they ended the first. A lot of pressure, and I don't think the Crooks scoring that goal is going to put them off very much. This Union team certainly looks a whole lot better than they did in that first set of games. As we mentioned, they're playing their first of 3 games today. Jones brings it in, that is held by Silva. Both goalies can look back at their first period performance and be really happy with it. And he gets off his angle for only a second, but comes back, cuts it off, comes out to the edge of the crease, and makes a really good save. This is Casto just rimming it around, trying to get the ball out for the Union. Crooks with possession behind the net. This comes out to Dowling, number 4. Trying to hold it in at the point, which he did. Now the Union able to poke it free. This is Jesse Costa sending it ahead. And the Union get something going. That's sent across the rink and to no one in particular, but the Union will regroup. Opportunity for Manning Almeida. That shot got blocked. Loose to the side of the net. And that one goes in. What an opportunity for the Union, and they are able to put it away and even up this game. It was a wide open net for a second. The first save was made, and then it actually went through the back of the net. Hunter Lammy gets the goal. That's his first of the season. It was so casual, you almost didn't realize that they scored because it went through the back of the net for a second, which is why the announcer almost thought it didn't go in. But it did. Lammy from Costa and Manning Almeida. So Manning Almeida actually has a couple of points now in games this year against the Crooks, and that, you have to say, is deserved. A deserved tying goal for the Union. As you can see on the scoreboard back there, now it goes to 1. The scoreboard operator almost forgot that it went through the back of the net. We'll have to get that fixed. But the Union, full value to tie this game up. This was an even first period. It probably shouldn't have had either team in the lead. Now, it is 1-1. Now, these Tier 2 players from New England Tier 2, which is more southern Massachusetts, near the border with Long Island, as this ball goes out of play. And Massachusetts Tier 2, where we are right now, is more of the northwest, extreme northwest outside of Boston. For the geography folks among us, it can be kind of confusing sometimes. New England and Massachusetts, what's the difference? That's the difference. So a lot of these Tier 2 players looking pretty good. Kind of understand how the game is played at this level. And they're doing a pretty good job of that. Second period underway. The goals, Josh Lambert in the first period for the Crooks, and for the Union, Hunter Lammy early in this first period. This first part of the second period, we should say. Union will try to get this moving north and south. Shot in as they enter the zone. A sharp angle shot, Carter. Once again, easy save. He's got a 1.98 goals against average. Most valuable goalie in 2023 in Mass Tier 1. Crooks turn to motor ahead. Was a try and move there from Jones at the line. Ends up setting it across the crease. That was deflected on its way, and Silva had to keep an eye out. Union can afford to be pretty patient. That was taken away, though. They were almost too patient. Ferreira had his stick lifted, loose at the side of the net. Silva able to cover it up, and he tried again, trying to go post to post. Sent up and intercepted by Manning Almeida. It's a breakaway for him. He's in. Great save by Carter. Backhand chance. That was from Lammy, who just scored, and that too was stopped. So here we go with more odd man rushes, more breakaways, and great saves by the goalie. The first period was full of that, and the second period turns out was also full of that. Consalvo, and number 8, gets it this way to Fredrickson into the slot, and had to go to the rink to try to get this chance to continue. Still loose in the slot at the side of the net. Silva just had to desperately poke it out of trouble. Consalvo, who scored one of the four of the 6 goals in that opening game against the Union. Another chance against Silva, just desperately looking to see where the ball went, and it went to the corner. You can see Consalvo's just asking for it. Nobody's picked him up far side. And then it's turned over. Here we go the other way. It's another 2-on-1, in fact a 3-on-1. Maselli is stopped. Carter diving, snow angeling. I don't know how you could call this a snow angel when it's this hot in June. A rink angel, I guess. What a save here. Just rolls off the back of his pad and then covers it up. It was Lammy again who got it from Maselli, and what an opportunity. Once again, it's amazing how many of these chances haven't gone in. Another fast-paced period. We're about halfway through it. There's Maselli. trying to go return the favor, but it's turned over now the other way. But this time it's not an on-man break because there are numbers back for both teams. Long shot, stopped by Silva as the Union pick it up. It's flipped directly out of play. And neutral zone. Neutral zone face-off here, just outside the offensive zone for the Crooks. Mentioned 4 of the 6 goal scorers from that 6-1 win for the Crooks over the Union early in the year are here today. Consalvo, Jones, Wilson, and Fredrickson. Had to be poked away by Carter. You can see Hunter Lammy is having quite the second period with a goal and some really good looks. Union trying to set it up, another chance. Carter, I don't think that ever got to him. It was blocked on the way. Good defending once more. Sticks went flying. Someone also went to the rink. That was Jesse Costa. Looked like he might have gotten cross-checked. It was actually Cordio who lost the stick, and then he just hammers one through. It got blocked. Now he's got to go to the bench. Hunter Lammy trying to send it back to the line. It's kept in. Another shot. Harder kicked out the pad and made the save. About 4.5 to go in the period. Jones' shot was blocked. Kept it at this near point. That's Dan Connors who sends it down low. A bit of hard checking there. We haven't seen a ton of that. No penalties yet in this game. Pasto will try to clear. Able to get it ahead. 3-on-2 for the Union, but the pass is broken up. Crooks' turn to build something. That was Wilson trying to get it in front. Couldn't connect cleanly. And that's Casto's shot, easily stopped by Carter. One of the easier saves he's had to make today. Evan Barbosa, number 26, wants to get it on the backhand, put it wide. Casto trying to go back door. That was juggled. And another chance was blocked. Out of the reach of Frank, who tried to get there on the rebound. Another long shot, stopped by Silva. That was from Wilson, who's been firing from everywhere today. Got to conserve your energy with all this up and down ball hockey. Back in front, great look. Carter makes the save. He goes down. Trying to clear it is Jones. He had trouble. It's still loose in the slot. Now it's with Frank. That was stopped. This is frenetic, I think is the best way to put it. Again, they're looking for that backdoor play, unavailable. Frank couldn't corral that pass. Plays it off the bounce, another shot, and finally we get a whistle. That's held by Carter. The goalies are earning their keep today. They have been excellent in these first 2 periods. Some great chances both ways, and without these 2 goalies, I don't think the score would still be 1-1. This has been an excellent game. You wouldn't have necessarily predicted that based on the records of these teams. Crooks a little bit below where they think they should be. Union, of course, 0-3. This comes in front for a second. What a look for Fredrickson. That kind of just dropped kindly from an alley-oop pass. And once again, Silva makes another save. The chances just come and come in waves. Holy's the last line of defense. Lammy. That was off the stick there of Carter and out of play. Got 1:36 to go in this period. By the way, I want to thank our incredible staff for teaching me a new ball hockey term that I called rink burn in the first period. Apparently, it's called waffle burn because if you go to the rink, literally put your legs to the rink and you try to block a shot, it looks like a waffle iron burn when you're on there, which I guess is appropriate because, as you've seen, there's a Denny's in the background. Anyway, Minute 25 to go in the period. Costa sends it down low. Nice setup. Other good save by Carter. I mean, there's been a lot of that today. Awesome looks for both teams. That comes through, but it's off a Crook stick before it can get to Carter. 70 seconds to go in the period. Long shot from Casto. Don't think it ever reached the crease. Crooks on the run. All the way through. That was Consalvo, who had his first chance stop, put the second one wide. And he'll set up shot far circle. Comes across. Less than a minute to go in the period now. 49 seconds to be exact. Comes all the way through. Carter down, looking for the ball. As his opposite number gives you kind of an idea of what that looks like, is it's finally held. And now we're going to get Carter's look. Look how close they're getting in tight. No chance there. This is Manning, Almeida, and Lammy, who have just been everywhere in the offensive zone, causing havoc, bringing chaos, but to this point, not many goals. At some point, you would have to imagine the goals are going to start to break through with the quality of chances we're seeing. But it might not be in the second period because it's close to coming to an end. This is A.J. Mills, who has an assist in the first period. Try to work it free. I think he ran out of racetrack for a second. Stayed in, shot blocked. Another turnaround shot. Comes it through. Oh, what a save. Silva got his stick on it. What an opportunity for Connors in front of the net as the period comes to an end. My goodness. Well, the second period looked a lot like the first. Glorious chances and one goal. But at the very least, it's even heading to the third. What on earth do we have in store for you in the third? Find out in a second.
Tune in to the Commish Chat podcast, your go-to source for weekly league breakdowns, current events, and behind-the-scenes stories from the world of ball hockey and the NBHL. Whether you're a player, a fan, or just discovering the game, we've got you covered. We break down top matchups, highlight standout performances, and dive into everything happening on and off the rink, from highlight reel goals to major league updates and everything in between. New episodes drop regularly, and you can catch every one on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Commish Chat, an NBHL podcast.
This has been a game of the week in every sense of the term. It's been an excellent contest between the Union and the Crooks, 1-1 after 2 periods. Not for a lack of chances, because there have been an incredible amount, and somehow the goalies are keeping most of them out. Let's take a look back at the only goal that went in that second period, and it was crazy because it went through the back of the net so fast that no one noticed. It was Hunter Lammy off of a rebound. It's just sitting at the edge of a crease for a second. It's so purely struck that it went through the back of the net, and it took a while for everyone to realize it. Jesse Costa helped set that one up, and then, much like we had in the first intermission, how about a bunch of elite saves from Carter and Silva? You gotta say the one from Silva here right at the end with his stick, absolutely robbing Dan Connors. Just got the paddle of his stick blade on it and made a heck of a save to keep this game 1-1. We can't say what's going to happen in the third period, but if we keep seeing these kinds of chances and this number of chances, we're going to have goals. You want to tune into the third period to find out. The first 2 periods have been excellent. Really, some of the best ball hockey we've seen in our games of the week yet. And the Southcoast Union don't look like a team that's 0-3. Don't look like a team of Tier 2 players being put together. They have played some excellent hockey, and they've got an opportunity here to really push and maybe even win this game. They're setting up here in the opening period. This comes right to the slot, and they score. We barely even started period number 3. And that is Lammy, who picks up his second of the game already, set up by Jesse Costa. Nobody is watching him. They gave him too much space, and they gave Lammy too much space, and that goes right through Carter. Might be a rare moment today where either goalie says they're going to want one of those back, but that was only 22 seconds into the period, and right the other way, that goes off the side of the net. Immediate opportunity there for Corey Wilson, who's kind of owed one today. Great opportunity there at the side. It doesn't go. 2-1 Union. Might be one of the first times they've led in any game they've played this season. We'll have to get a check on that at some point. Crooks trying to respond immediately. And that is going to go up and out of play. Wilson just uncorked one right here from the left circle. Waited, and then right there, out of play into the glove of Silva was such a good shot that Silva didn't even get a chance to do a look what I found save. Here come the Crooks again. I don't think they expected to be down 2-1 in the third period of a game in second meeting against a team they already beat 6-1. Here comes the Union again. They're looking for another. Akras is behind everyone. It's behind Ferreira, who is looking for it. Taken back by the Union. They move into the offensive zone, set up at the right point. That shot whistled wide. Didn't miss by much. This is Barbosa into the high slot. Good opportunity, but it ended up going through. An unfortunate Carter it in. I think he just missed it. Let's have a look. This first shot goes well wide. And watch the setup here. Got to see who scored it. Oh yeah, it comes in so fast. It's Maselli who gets the goal. Barbosa helps set it up. How about this? Maselli's first of the season, Barbosa's first assist. It's 3-1 in favor of the Union. Again, these goals are going in so quick, and the goalies have been playing so well that you almost kind of shocked that Carter got beat twice the way he was. Something else I learned when we were putting together the intermissions is that for whatever reason in Massachusetts, these rinks are like 20 feet shorter, as there's another save from Silva on a point shot that he melts. These rinks are about 20 feet shorter than the rinks you would see when we do our Jersey Tier 1 games. So kind of compare it to if you're watching an NHL game versus watching an international game, and the international rink is bigger than the 200 by 85 you see in the NHL. And the NHL rink being smaller, less neutral zone, more offense, and that's definitely what we're seeing here. The neutral zone in this game, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, has been non-existent. Once the zone's cleared, there's an opportunity going the other way, and it's usually an on-man break. Here's Connors to reset just inside his own blue line. So what on earth are we going to see coming up? Crooks have to overturn a 2-goal deficit. Long shot. Silva made the save. The way it's going with that floating blue line, you don't mind just hammering a point shot, getting a rebound, and seeing what's created. Here's Manning Almeida. He's got an assist on that second period goal. Lammy has 2, Maselli has 1. A third goal in this period would be so huge right now for the Union, but they're not able to get it going. This is cleared all the way down, and that is icing. Yes, if you are new to ball hockey, it's still called icing, even though we're not playing on ice. But then again, I didn't know it was a waffle burn when you go down to the rink to block a shot, so you learn something new every day. And in fact, I've learned more about ball hockey today. Oh, there's an opportunity. Really good look. I think that was Lammy on a hat trick, just had his shot lifted. I can't even finish my thought of saying you learn so much about ball hockey every time we do one of these games, and we've had more than a few games of the weeks now. Learn something new every day, and the Crooks were going to be really close to a 3-goal deficit there and almost on the verge of learning what it's like to lose to a team that hasn't won yet. But a well-timed stick kind of bailed out Andrew Carter, who had really awesome first 2 periods, but this third period has been a little tougher for him. I think he'd tell you he'd want both of those goals back, but we'll see if the Crooks, with all this all-star level firepower, can find a way back into this, and you wouldn't doubt their ability to do so. Here's Fredrickson. Sends it back to the point. Another long shot goes over the top, bounces off the back of the cage. 6.5 minutes for the Union to survive to get their first win in Tier 1. That was ripped away by Fredrickson. Comes into the slot. You can see Lammy trying to get a good defensive stick in. That comes wide as well. I just had it in front. Oh boy. I can't tell what that bounced off of, but Silva certainly could, because he was able to catch it and freeze it. Good for him. You got to be so impressed with his performance today. He is 0-2 with a 5 goals against average. But today, he's been honestly excellent. Even better than Carter. And Carter, of course, is a former most valuable goalie in Massachusetts Tier 1. And there are a lot of good goalies in Tier 1. There's no question about that. Ledger trying to get it up the wall. Crooks able to move their way into the offensive zone. There's been a lot more defending and numbers back as Silva again able to freeze that with Wilson bearing down. There haven't been the same level of odd man rushes that we've seen in the last 2 periods. Not really anywhere close. But if you are the Union, you don't want to just sit back and invite the pressure because, well, the Crooks could score in a hurry. There's no question that they've got plenty of firepower. They scored 6 in a game against the Union earlier this year. The Crooks would like to even up their record in games of the week to 1-1. Of course, they lost to the Owls 3-2 earlier in the year. 5:30 to go, 3rd period. Crooks trying to create a chance. It's cleared, but not all the way. Floating blue line kept it in that shot. Silva's able to make a save. It goes out of play. Again, that floating blue line makes it harder to get the ball out, and that's another good save by Silva, who's on his angle and was very sharp. I think that was Wilson again. He tries, and Silva makes the stop. He lost the rebound for a second. That went wide. Pressure starting to build for the Crooks. Now their icing is in spite of the hustle. That was Manning Almeida just busting his lungs. You almost wonder how much these guys have left in the tank on this hot summer day. You hope they still have something left in the tank. Crooks trying to set this table. Back to the point. That shot goes wide. Loose in front for a second, jamming away. Who's found it? And eventually, I think that goes in. It did. There was just a loose ball side of the crease. Nobody could stick a fork in it. This angle is going to give us a better one. These great GoPros behind the net. Shot goes wide. Silva trying to find it, and eventually it goes in. And I think the last touch is going to be A.J. Mills, number 54. So he's got a 2-point game. Consalvo and Cordio each pick up their 2nd assist of the season. And now we've got ourselves a 1-goal game again. Another look what I found save there from Brandon Silva, who has been under a lot of duress in this 3rd period. He's trying to do everything he can to keep it at bay. And look, you can't blame any team 2 goals up in the 3rd period of a hockey game for trying to defend it, but there's been a little too much defending from the Union in the last little while. Well, they got to keep at least some level of pressure going the other way. They've had trouble clearing the zone. They've had trouble breaking the ball out over this red line with any sort of intent, really. Barbosa trying to shoot. Oh, that was an opportunity side of the net. That was Frank who trying to jam it away short side on Carter, who's made a couple of important saves to prevent that 4th goal from going in. A 4th goal and a 3-goal deficit for the Crooks might have been the end of their chance to come back. There's a long shot from Waldron. That stayed in. Connors behind his own net. Maselli, who has 1 of the goals today. 2 for Lammy, 1 for Maselli, but on come the Crooks with 4:10 to go in the period. Need 1 to tie this up and perhaps force overtime. Oh, another good look at a pass right through the slot. Doesn't connect with anybody. Seems to be players that are open and available. That long shot comes in. Was Dowling and never quite reached the target. Connors. He's waiting for something. Comes back to the point, D to D, another shot. I think Silva got in the way. Kept alive. Along the far wall, another hard duel there. But again, it's the Crooks who keep it. Shot, Silva saves, loose in front for a second. Nobody able to fight it. Silva's scrambling. It ends up going wide. That is goalie 911 if I've ever seen it. But the pressure builds. It comes to Connors. Connors scores! All that pressure eventually pays off. First of the year for Dan Connors. How about the setup? Comes from across the rink, but Silva's just out of position. He's scrambling, trying to do whatever he can to get back in shape, but then here's Connors, near circle, gets himself into space and just blasts one by the shoulder. That was a nice pass from Cam Cordio to set that up. 2 assists in this period, 3 assists today, so he's got 3 on the afternoon, and this game is 3-3, and a quick chance comes in wide. Was Connors looking for another? Well, after all that good work from the Union, now they've got to defend and see if they can get this thing to overtime. There's been a little bit too much one-way traffic in the third period after those early goals from the Union. Can they hold out for overtime? You kind of want them to at this point. The way they've played, first 2 periods certainly earned it. But they're wilting a little under the sun. Castro's going to use the short boards, try to get it ahead. Gets in. Oh, this is where the Union need to keep it as much as humanly possible. Ledger trying to flip it up the wards. Oh, it's coming right back at the Union again. This play, though, is offside. And Jones ends up touching it, and so they're going to get the draw in the neutral zone. A break for the Union, who, give them credit. This is a tough spot to be in. Your first-year team, you're just really bringing up a bunch of Tier 2 players. No idea how it's going to go against one of the best teams in all of Tier 1. Champions from 2023. They lost to the first round of the overall championships last year, Northside Renegades of Pittsburgh, a team we've seen in this show quite a bit. So you know how good they are. And the Union, very least, think they can deserve a point, but they might not get one because that comes in and right over the shoulder of an unsuspecting Silva from Brandon Jones, and suddenly the Crooks have a 4-3 lead. This harmless-looking play, Jones just brings it in, and this, oh, that's just a great shot. What are you supposed to do about that if you're Silva? There's a little bit of a screen in front from Ferreira. Takes away the eyes. But, oh, what an unfortunate break for the Union. Brandon Jones, that is his 7th goal of the season. He had been pretty dang quiet all afternoon. And now the Crooks have a lead, looking to get the icing on the cake, but unable to get a good shot away. That was some acrobatics in front of the net. But trying to put an exclamation point on it. And now it's all hands on deck time for the Union. Carter coming out to play it. Up the wall. Beyond Maselli. And there isn't much time yet left for the Union to get this one back. Oh boy. Oh, this feels kind of unfortunate for a Southcoast Union team that's been pretty good today and should at the very least feel like they deserve overtime. Not to say that the Crooks haven't had their chances, because they sure have. But, oh my. Oh, Silva hit the crossbar? Maybe it hit off of Silva and off the crossbar and then the chainmail fence behind the net. Let's see. Oh, it did hit the bar and then the follow-up went over. Oh my. That was Consalvo, the defenseman who came in. When you play as well as Brandon Silva has played today, you kind of earn your crossbar luck, and that was earned. But now, can the Union get the tying goal, send this to overtime? A minute to go in regulation. What do they have on offer? That shot goes wide. Comes in front. Carter closes off the angle. Once again, back up high. Trying to load up. They went for the pass instead. I think that was Manning Almeida trying to find an open lane. Opposite corner. Another point shot with the goalie pulled. Carter holds on. Might have been tipped on the way. But Carter, well, his guys in front of him gave him the run support. Now he's just got to make a couple more saves, and he's going to usher his team to a 4th win. Really one of the best games we've had in the game of the week all year. And the Crooks, I don't think they would have expected needing 3 goals in the 3rd period to salvage a win against a new team. But that's what they're on the verge of doing. They don't ask how, they just ask how many. This is Waldron. They got to get it to the net in a hurry. That shot goes wide. 6 on 5. Union desperate to try to tie this game up. They do not have much time left. Maybe about 30 seconds. Good save again by Carter. I couldn't tell who got a stick on it. There's 3 red shirts in front of the net. Bodies hit the deck. Cleared all the way down. This is icing. And there's only 2.3 left. I wonder if that was the chance. It was Waldron standing in front of the net. Then there's another chance that Carter saves on Maselli. And then here's that little flurry after that. It was Casto as well as Waldron going to get something. And now they've got 2.3. You got to win a face-off. You've got to hammer it towards the net. And that's not going to happen because they win the face-off. And the Crooks, they might have stolen one here with a 4-3 win, scoring the last 3 goals of this game. That is so unfortunate for the Union, who fall to 0-4, but played their best game of the season. Back in a second to wrap.
From the beginning of time, men and women have been friends, family, but yet rivals as well. Some of the most epic battles have been fought from the North to the South Pole and anywhere in between. As time flies, battles have transformed themselves into sports. Yet, the fundamentals remain the same, with lighter shields and a different type of sword. But evolution is clever. It introduces new rules but keeps one thing intact: adrenaline. So it's with honor and pride that we present to the world all of the above into one sport: hockey ball. The game born in the North that can be played from the mountains to the ocean, and from America to Europe, all the way to the land of the rising sun. Napper. Anyone, anywhere.
Well, that was quite the 3rd period, and I think I foreshadowed it by saying if the play from the first 2 periods continued, we were going to get goals, and we got a bunch, and it ends in a 4-3 win for the Crooks over the Union. Boy, I feel, and I think all of you will feel pretty bad for a team that played so well to get the lead, but then let it slip late. We've got a couple of goals here. Lammy, he gets up his second. This was 22 seconds of the period. You can't start a 3rd period better. And then a minute 5 seconds later, Maselli, another one that gets through Andrew Carter, and it was a goal that I think he probably won back. And you're seeing now a 3-1 lead for the Union. You're just thinking, well, it's going to be their day. They're going to get their first win. But then the Crooks, here's A.J. Mills picking up a goal. A little scramble in front. He might have been the last one to touch it. It probably went off a Union player. Then it's Dan Connors off a long sequence after a lot of defending for the Union. They just couldn't hold out any longer. Connors just blasts this one home, and then Brandon Jones. This is a great shot. I don't know what Brandon Silva is supposed to do to stop it. Incredible play through a screen. Jones picks up his 7th of the year. That's the winner with a little more than 2 minutes to go. The Crooks end up going to 4-2 on the season. They really needed that to keep pace with the Owls and Scorpions. The Union, this is their first of 3 games in the day. They fall to 0-4, but they certainly look like a team that belongs in Tier 1 based on this performance. Hopefully, we'll have a game for you next week in the game of the week that tops this. This might have been one of our best yet. I'm Matthew Aaron. Thanks for being with us. Have a great rest of your day.